Hello and welcome into episode 104 of Two Man Game with Damon and Dom. I'm Damon, that's Dom, and you are the listener. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you're listening on YouTube, on Spotify. Leave 5 stars on either platform. Share, and share some more. Um, we are cruising here past the All-Star break. Well, technically the NBA hasn't come back yet, but the All-Star festivities are done. We are going to talk about that as well as what we are kind of paying attention to down the stretch here in this regular season. But before we get into any of that, Dom, how are you?
Hey, I am well. I am recovered from my birthday party that we held on Friday. I have been relaxing the last few days because I
Happy
just had,
birthday. Happy birthday. Everybody say happy
thank
birthday, Dom.
you.
We're taking a happy birthday break, okay? Ready?
All right.
Happy
Happy.
birthday. Okay, we're not doing that.
And we're done.
Happy
Cool.
birthday.
I realized I started singing with you. And I was like, wait, why am I singing with you? That's just that mentality, you know? But no, it was a lot of fun. Partied a lot. Went to bed at 5 in the morning. Had a great time with a lot of friends. Wish you could have been here. And yeah, it was fun. It's been a great weekend, and I had the day off. President's Day. Shout out to the good ones. Thank you.
Not very
And
many of them.
no shout out to the bad ones. I'm not a big fan of most of them, but it has been nice having the day off. Damon, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. Very kind of you to say that you wish I was at your party, because you and I both know I'm not much of a partier. Um,
You say that, but then when you and I go out, you party, dude. You say that, but you do party.
I don't know if that's true. Let
We'll talk off
we'll
pod.
have to party again, I guess.
Okay.
Um, yeah, we're actually for President's Day. We're doing a President's Day tier list, so we're gonna actually do tier list of every president.
Every single president.
Um, Barack. Barack was at the All-Star game. Reggie Miller interviewed him. I watched that. That was
That's
kind of funny.
cool. That's cool.
Um,
Michelle too. Love. All love for
yeah,
the Obamas.
yeah. Well, not all love, a lot of love, but they weren't perfect. But
No one's perfect, man.
you
But
won't, you
I,
won't.
I,
Yeah,
I choose
yeah.
choose love, man.
Choose love. Choose love. I mentioned this on Jared and I's show last weekend. Recovering from a surgery. Got all the stuff taken care of for that. I had plugs in my nose; those are gone. I've been doing this nasal wash, and the things that are coming out of my nostrils, like I couldn't tell you. Here, I'll paint you a picture. It's like, okay, imagine you're at Waffle House or IHOP, right? And you have like the little jam they give you with the toast. It's
Love,
like it's
yes.
like that texture, but it's just black. Just
Oh,
just
okay.
just like coming out of my nose in
Don't
bunches
love. Don't love that.
as I'm squeezing this like saline solution up my nose. Yeah, it's
Yeah. I've been sick. Have you ever done like a neti pot where you like when you're sick
that's
and then you
kind of
just
what it is.
yeah, right? Okay.
It's the
But
same
how,
company that does those.
well, how are you feeling? I'm more concerned about that than what's coming out of your nose.
I'm feeling good. I got like a little tingle from the top of the teeth into the nose here. It's
Interesting.
all connected. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really the only symptom left over. I did have like a scratchy throat because there's an anesthesia tube in there for the surgery. That was tough. The nose was bleeding for a long time. That obviously isn't happening anymore. But we're good. We're on the other side. I can hear, I can smell, I can breathe. I don't even actually can't even use my sleep apnea machine. It's just here for decoration right now.
At this point, yeah.
My doctor said at least 3 months. I was like, okay, I guess I'll just sleep like garbage for 3 months.
Oh, you
Um,
can't even sleep with. I thought like now because of the surgery now you can sleep better, or is it
I
not the
mean, I
fact?
can breathe better, but it's certainly not 100%.
Hmm,
But I guess just to see what it's like and get used to it, I'm supposed to not use it. So
I
I'm
see.
just out here waking up a lot, pretty
Well, I'm
much.
glad. I mean, I'm just glad the surgery went well and everything. I know it can be a little a nerve. It can be nervous and like nerve-wracking to like go through something like that. But I'm glad everything went well and everything, and glad you can hear better and everything will be better too. You know.
My senses, I feel like a superhero for a little bit with my hearing.
I won't forget when I started the pod for 22 man game. Shout out Ethical Ball and you were like, "Have we always potted really loud?" I thought it was so funny. I
Everything is
felt
so
terrible.
loud.
I didn't know life was this loud. It's crazy,
Yeah,
but I'm glad you're able to hear everything now.
yeah. I'm looking up and on the other side, unlike friend of the show, not friend of the show, Chris Paul. Chris Paul is looking down as he retires from the NBA. Traded to the Raptors this past deadline, and the Raptors said you don't have to show up. They eventually did waive him, and right after he was waived, he announced his retirement. CP3, the point god, probably a top five point guard all time in the NBA. Um, I think people would say probably Steph, Magic, Isaiah are certainly above him, and then after that, it kind of becomes a conversation. Stockton, some other guys there.
Hmm.
Um, with this Chris Paul retirement news, Dom, first of all, not a great retirement tour. Went back with the Clippers, so was going to retire with the team that he kind of had the most memorable, moments on.
Yeah.
Didn't work out with him and Ty Lue. Gets shipped off, gets waived. After starting all 82 games for the Spurs last year, it's kind of a sad way to end. Is there any, do you have any like Chris Paul moments that you kind of think of or anything that comes to your mind?
Yeah, I didn't watch Chris Paul a lot when he was on the Clippers the first time. That was when I kind of like took a break from basketball. I got back into basketball when he was on the Rockets and then he went to the Thunder. And I mean, I'll never forget how he elevated the Thunder and then the Suns basically to being like the Thunder were not even in talks about being in the playoffs. To make it to the playoffs, go to 7 games with the Rockets,
Hmm.
ultimately lose. But like, I'll never forget that watching that game and just like what he was able to do for that team, and also for the Suns when the next year when he signed with them and took them to the finals. And ultimately they didn't win, but that was that the only change they did was that basically. So obviously he had a big part in that to play. I am very I wish I was able to see Chris Paul play with the Clippers here. I was going to go to some games. I had planned on it and to see him play one last time. And unfortunately, a lot of fans. I'm not that broken up about it because I like Chris Paul. Like I think I'm more like the idea of Chris Paul than like what he's kind of done in later years as he's gotten older. Kind of does more tricks, kind of sly, like pushing and like swipe throughs. We've talked about that enough. Like I'm don't love that in the game. Not ethical to play basketball like that. But you can't deny back in the day, like just the way he was able to play basketball and just get the team involved is something I love about. That's why I love basketball as a team sport because it's about getting everyone involved. It's not a one person sport. Go watch golf if you want to see one guy do it all. So I respect Chris Paul a lot for that and how a lot of other players look up to him because of what he's done. And I think what happened with the Clippers sucks. It just sucks. And I really wish he was able to have that. But now I'm at least glad that he can just maybe set it all aside. I know he's talked about like being like coaching or at least being a mentor and like something in that respect. I don't think he'll be away from basketball anytime soon. I think he'll be still a big part of it. So I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, what about you? Chris Paul thoughts?
Yeah, the first thing I thought it was a swipe through. It's
I know.
funny you mentioned that. Um, Chris Paul, known for the fouling intentionally when a team is up three and he's on defense, so they can't shoot a three. That's another unethical but smart IQ basketball wise play. Um, yeah, those kind of interesting memories I have associated with him. I think, his time on the Rockets will always matter to me as a Rockets fan. That's the closest the Rockets have been really in my lifetime, the Harden Chris Paul Rockets. Chris Paul goes down in game 6 with an injury against the Warriors. The 73-9 Warriors looked like they had him beat in that series until Chris Paul was injured and missed the last 2 games. So that was really tough and unfortunate because the Rockets were up 3-2 in that series. So sucks for that reason. And then, yeah, the Clippers years, the Pelicans years. I mean, Pelicans years, but they were the Hornets at the time. I used to have a Hornets Chris Paul jersey, but it's not like I was super watching them when I was like 6 years old. Six is crazy. I was like 10 years old. Um,
That's six. That's crazy.
6 is wild. Uh, so yeah, it's a player that will definitely be remembered for a lot of different reasons. He went to a lot of different teams at the end. I do think for most of those teams, he elevated their floor and kind of made them relevant. You mentioned the Thunder. Same thing with the Suns. Even the Spurs, they didn't make the playoffs, but he was a competent point guard that kind of, I think, helped Stephon Castle in his development a little bit. Probably helped Wemby from the playmaking aspect. So all that stuff you can't say, and his personality was one that not everyone got along with, but if you did get along with it, he was going to be able to kind of take you along where you need to go and kind of grow you and grow your basketball like you. And like you said, I can imagine that he will do that. From a coaching standpoint, not far from now, I wouldn't be surprised in the next season or two if he's like an assistant coach on some team.
Yeah, I totally agree. I know his family's based in Los Angeles, so I'm curious if he's going to kind of stick around, work for teams here, or maybe just enjoy not doing basketball for a year and then come back to it. Like that's kind of the benefit that if it's someone has a career like Chris Paul, who, like you said, is referred to as the point god, he was definitely part of the top 75 players, right? 75 years. I'm sure he's got to be that in there, right?
Yeah, I'd be shocked if he wasn't. I'll
Yeah.
look it up.
So, it's nice that no one's going to forget about you. You take a year off, you're like, you know what, didn't love the way how my career ended. Then take a year off just to be with family, figure out what I want to do, then come back. No one's going to be like, who's this guy? Everyone knows Chris Paul um and respects him and what he's done for the game. So,
He was definitely a top 75 player. When the New
yeah.
York Times did their rankings, he ranked 30th.
That's quite high, but and
Yeah, I
in
didn't
his
think they'd be that
prime,
high. Interesting,
in
yeah.
his prime, I get
Yeah.
it. Someone who won't be in the top 75 anytime soon. Malik Beasley signed with Bad Bunny's team in Puerto Rico for their season that starts in March. So Malik Beasley, the guy accused of gambling and fixing games, was acquitted from that, but still kind of is taboo to be signed to a team and whatnot. So I guess I will be honest, I didn't know Bad Bunny had a team in Puerto Rico.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I didn't know about that or the league that it's a part of. I think the idea, because even though he was acquitted, I think the like investigation involved is still going. I think this will kind of work as a showcase for him, and then when the NBA season rolls around again after this upcoming playoffs, then maybe he signs to a team. So he just ends up
got
with kind of like a year
it.
hiatus.
Yeah, which makes sense. I mean, I hope like again, like we like Malik Beasley. He's one of the funniest guys on the court because he's one of the best clips of all time where he just forgets where he's at for a moment. But I mean, he helped the Pistons a lot last year, and I liked him a lot as that kind of role on a team. So hopefully, those things aren't true, and then he's able to come back and join a team.
Yeah, and maybe it will be his former Pistons. They are missing some guys right now for a big old fight that happened. Pistons at Hornets. So basically, I was just watching the clip before we got on. Jalen Duren, Musa Diabate, very physical in the paint. Duren goes up for a layup. Diabate kind of slapped down on his arm, and they were doing a little talking even before the play happened because this was a sideline inbounds play. And they start talking. They do the thing where they get their heads real close to each other, forehead to forehead action. You love to see that. And then Diabate basically tries to punch him, just like throws a punch. And Duran's just backing up the whole time, backs up to the sideline, backs up in front of the front row. Diabate kind of gets into the front row. Now getting into the audience, that's scary business for NBA. You think back to Malice at the Palace, right? That was like a whole ordeal. Cannot get fans involved in that way. That's a big, big no-no. So Duran continues to back up though, and he's probably still talking, shouting at him or whatever. People
Hmm.
are holding Diabate back. And then Miles Bridges just appears out of nowhere and also goes for Duran. And he's at this point, he's backed up from the goal around the sideline all the way back to like half court, and then Bridges is here, and then they're at half court, and out of nowhere, Isaiah Stewart comes in off the bench, like a
Dude,
like
he
a
Superman runs.
superhero,
Yeah.
and he literally just runs in and squares up like he's about to just deck Miles Bridges. Um, and then they have to be separated, and there's a giant kerfuffle with people and officials and security everywhere. Um, so the results of that. Isaiah Stewart received the heftiest fine for 7 game suspension. Part of this was the reason, the history Isaiah Stewart has. Of course, people think about when he was like a bull running at LeBron. That was a classic one. You gotta remember that. And there's been a couple
Always.
other instances. And
Hmm.
because he did come off the bench, that's like a big no-no coming off the bench during stuff like that because he wasn't in the game at the time. Miles Bridges for 4 games for kind of instigating and going after Duran after the initial separation. Boo, Miles Bridges. Boo, we don't like you anyways. Um, Musa Diabate 4 games. It was really gunning for Duran. He got very hot headed in that moment. And then Duran ends up getting a 2 game suspension, which I guess makes sense. But after the initial push, he really didn't do a whole lot.
Yeah.
He was just backing away from the altercation the whole time. I think if we didn't get to the fans and we didn't get to the Miles Bridges kind of escalation component of it, this may have just ended up in like a Diabate ejection and no
Yeah.
suspension. But ultimately, that's what happens. And the Pistons, again, finding themselves in a situation where players are being suspended because of they can't keep a cool head on the court, which
Yeah.
is something like I don't think matters obviously right now, a Pistons Hornets game in the middle of the season, but they hold the 1 seed by a wide margin in the Eastern Conference, and come playoff time, that stuff's gonna matter. They got to be able to keep their cool in these kind of situations.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's always so interesting how like the Pistons always kind of get roped up into this somehow. Like you mentioned, Mouse in the Palace, which I remember watching live on TV when it happened.
Like, what is
Which is
going
one of my.
on?
I was like,
Like,
this is my favorite game of basketball I've ever seen ever. No, it was like, what is happening? I was confused, but I agree. I think another big reason why these ejections, or not ejections, these suspensions are as long as they are, is because the optics. I saw this fight like a lot on social media. And I think
mhm.
it's because it was so drawn out. It was like a minute and a half. Like usually it's kind of like some punches maybe thrown, people held back, it's done after 15 seconds. It's the fact that it was like a minute and a half of like kind of roaming around the court and like just big groups of people, and then like Isaiah, and then like just different waves like Miles Bridges, and then you got Isaiah Stewart, just like so much going on. I'm
Yeah.
assuming also that during the game they were all ejected. I don't
Yeah, I'm
know.
not I'm not sure. I'm not
They
sure.
all right, you guys are good? Okay, go back to playing. It'd be hilarious. But you will be suspended after. I'm sure they were ejected. That's kind of like the way it goes. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's part of the game. Coming off the bench is a big no-no, like you said. You're not in play, like you have no stake in this. Like usually let the coaches do their thing, holding people back. I think one of my favorite things about fights like this is watching the other guys. Cade Cunningham's literally rolling his eyes the whole time, like, what the that guy stopped. Like, what is happening? Oh my God, what is going on? And then like Brandon Miller is like, what is it? He's just laughing. I'm pretty sure Brandon Miller's just like watching laughing. So it's just like the reactions from other guys is always kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely got to keep your cool. Um, Pistons, especially if you have aspirations to, go far, like you guys are in the, ahead 5.5 games by the Celtics, which I'm not happy about. We're not going to talk about it right now. But we are going to talk about shout out Detroit Pistons legend, two-way guard, Denise Jenkins. Is it Denise or Jenkins? I've heard both.
Denise. I
Okay,
think it's
Denise
Denise, yeah.
Jenkins. They have signed him to a 2-year contract with a team option for the 26-27 season. He has been awesome for them. And, I haven't watched the Pistons a lot this year, but I did watch a game where they annihilated the Knicks like a week or two ago. I think it was 2 weeks. And Denise Jenkins, they're so good. It was just like really fun to see him just get that chance and and him being rewarded for that. So I always love seeing that for a player. So congrats to him.
Yeah, some other signings that are going on right now. The Magic signed Jevon Carter. He was waived by the Bulls after they made a ton of trades at the deadline, and he, has now kind of come onto the Magic. They did have Tyus Jones, who they ended up getting rid of to the Mavericks. So maybe he can kind of fill the void that Tyus Jones wasn't able to while he was on the team. Of course, it's mostly Suggs and Anthony Black, and this is just kind of a depth addition for them. But just a player that, like, one of those guys that I feel like is kind of constantly underrated and bounces from team to team. And I think he's like a fine bench guard.
Yeah, no, Jevon Carter is good. He's a good NBA player. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna keep saying that a lot today too, I'm sure. Another player, which it was very interesting to see the kind of path what happened with him, but Mike Conley on during the trade deadline was traded to the Hornets so they can get Ayo Dosunmu on the Timberwolves. Well, guess who's back? Mike Conley, waived by the Hornets, signed with the Timberwolves. Hilarious. Can't
Traded
believe
them
there's not a
and he
I can't believe
came
there's not a
back.
rule against that. That's crazy.
I have just knew and we kept Mike Conley.
I mean, Timberwolves A plus. Like I have no complaints whatsoever. Like, I love that for them. So that's cool to see. And welcome back, Mike Conley. Hey Timberwolves. You never know. Could go far, get a ring. Love that for him.
They were on our championship high. So
They sure were.
never forget when Mike Conley signed like the largest contract in NBA history. Back when he was with the Grizzlies.
Really? I don't remember that. Well, I
Yeah,
wasn't
that
watching.
that was a while ago. Um, the Bucks signed guard Cam Thomas after he was waived by the Nets. So interesting signing here. We talked about Cam Thomas getting waived last episode. Very strange. I guess the Nets couldn't find a trade partner, and they kind of didn't really see him in the division for their team with all the rookies they drafted this past season. Interesting for the Bucks to get him because the Bucks have relied a lot on both Ryan Rollins and Kevin Porter Jr., who are guards that need the ball in their hand, and Cam Thomas is, of course, a guard that needs the ball in his hands too. Not a lot of playmaking between those three guys, and of course, Giannis is out with injury right now. When he's back, he'll have the ball in his hands, and you don't need these guys to have the ball as much. I just wonder how the guard rotation is going to work because they're all very much on-ball players.
Yeah, I actually saw. I don't know if it was his first game with the Bucks, maybe his second game, but Cam Thomas hooped and like he like won the game for them. It was against a pretty good team too, if I remember. And yeah, Nets interesting team. I guess they're like Cam Thomas doesn't fit in our timeline with all these like 19 and 20 year olds they got right now.
Hmm.
Still kept Claxton, still have MPJ, so it's a little interesting that you decided to waive this guy. Um, but it's good for the Bucks. It's a good signing. He's a microwave. He can score. He could do things. So it'll be interesting to see what he is like paired with Giannis. But maybe he kind of takes over that Kevin Porter Jr. Position because I don't want Kevin Porter Jr. playing. So that'd be sick. To see
True.
more Cam Thomas, who's really fun to watch too. I saw him play here one time against the Clippers, and it was really fun to see. So I'm glad that he just didn't get waived and is now like out of the NBA.
That would be
I was
crazy.
that because yeah. So I'm glad he got picked up, and my team, they might come up later. Let me just say that they might come up later.
Mm, mm.
Mm.
Um,
And then I believe, and someone else got signed, who was on the
mhm.
Nets as well. Got signed to the Suns. Haywood Highsmith. So went from the
Yeah.
Heat to the Nets to the Suns.
Yeah, he's just sitting on his couch. I think they also didn't have the roster spot for him anymore.
Mm.
I like this pickup for the Suns. I like Haywood Highsmith. Now, granted, that could be the Miami Heat cloud. People on the Heat look different. They go elsewhere and they're
Gabe
like,
Vincent, Max Strus, Haywood Heights, like it's true.
I don't know what they do over there. They just pull these guys out of nowhere and turn them into NBA players. But hopefully, he can kind of keep that ability with the Suns. I'm sure they could use it. They have Royce O'Neal. He kind of fits that mold. Grayson Allen in terms
Mhm.
of kind of smaller wing defender, shooter, that kind of idea.
Yeah.
This one surprised me. Jeremy Sochan was waived by the Spurs, which was shocking to me. Not that shocking. Like it seemed like he kind of fell out of the rotation there. They're doing a lot of Wemby, Luke Cornett, and then they have other backup kind of wings and bigs they can rely on. So Sochan hadn't been getting a lot of minutes. But I'm just surprised that they couldn't find a team to take him for like a couple seconds or something, even at the deadline. Like this guy was a number 9 pick 3, 4 years ago. So that was a little shocking to me. And then the Knicks end up picking him up, I think, still, which was also shocking because I thought the Knicks were in like the luxury tax or second apron, but maybe they created some space with the Yabusele trade they
Hmm.
made at the deadline. And I know that ended up getting Dalen Terry, who ended up getting Jose Alvarado. But maybe there was some extra room, and that's how they signed Jeremy Sochan. I'm not sure how the money worked out, but definitely we talked about how the Knicks had a bunch of small guards and kind of their um, depth pieces. So now they have a bigger guy, a wing guy that they can maybe lean on a little bit. I'm not sure if Jeremy Sochan is a guy, if you're in the conference finals, that you want to lean on in your kind of backup front court, but I'm not sure who else they would at this point because they're looking pretty thin in that spot in their rotation. And I obviously don't mind the signing. Like I think he's can be a quality NBA player. Like I said, I was surprised he was waived.
Yeah, I definitely was surprised too. Before I saw the news that he was waived, I know a lot of people from San Antonio, and I saw them post on like Instagram like "Thank you, Jeremy, for like your time in San Antonio." And I was like, "What happened?" And it was after the trade deadline. I was like, "He didn't get traded. I know he didn't because
Mm.
we would have talked about it." And then
Yeah.
I looked it up. It's like, yeah, Spurs waived him. Knicks pick him up. I was like, "What happened?" But I guess I never really saw how he fit into this new version of the Spurs with Wemby and then getting Stephon Castle and then Dylan Harper and like I just didn't really see how he fit into that like kind of quicker and he's a bit slower and like takes the game at a slower pace. To me, he's a good defender, not really a shooter. Like I don't really know how he like fit into that what the Spurs needed. So weird. Like I agree that he didn't. He's worth more than just being waived for sure.
Hmm.
But I think it's a good pickup for the Knicks. I wouldn't want to like trust only him. Isn't it so weird when like the sun comes out when it's like pouring rain? Anyways, sorry. I'm like you can't even see me right now. um, but I mean, it's good for the Knicks. I'm glad the Knicks got it because they need height and like some defense. So I think that's a good pickup. And the Wizards. Their star center Alex Sarr sprained his right hamstring and will be out for a few
Star.
weeks.
Their star center. Mm.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, Alex Starr,
Um,
the Star Center. No, he is. He's their young guy. He's been having a really good season. Hate to see that he's out for a few weeks. So I think this is going to be a good time for like development and whatnot. I know that Trey Young is, I think, still out, and Anthony Davis will be out. So it would have been a good time to get some run just for him to play NBA games. But hopefully he recovers sooner than later, so he can go back to be playing.
and he missed the legendary Rising Stars contest. Um, Another guy that's not
How
going to be
dare he?
playing for a while, Jaren Jackson Jr., undergoing season-ending knee surgery for the Jazz. So before we get into this, let's talk about the Jazz. Dom, have you seen the Jazz going up double digits and then not playing starters for entire fourth quarters to intentionally lose games? That's been a thing that they've done.
I have
Um,
not seen that, but isn't that illegal?
They got fined for at least once, but yeah, they are so obviously taking right in your face. It's hilarious. Like they're accidentally like winning games, and they're like, "All right, stop playing everybody, stop." But this Jared Jackson Jr. news does seem to be real. Apparently, when they traded for him, they discovered this kind of I don't remember what it's called, but something in his knee that is like not inherently an issue, but if you don't address it, it could grow
Mm,
and then become like a big deal. So I guess when they discovered that, Jaren decided I want to play a little bit with the team, kind of get a feel for it, and then we could like do the surgery and
yeah,
stuff. So that's ultimately what happened because he played like 3, 4 games for the Jazz, and then they shut him down for the rest of the season, which I'm sure they were totally fine with as they
yeah,
try to tank and protect their pick.
yeah. No, I saw this news and was like, oh, okay, I see. Yeah, I honestly, to me, I almost thought that they not obviously you don't do a surgery for no reason, so obviously he needs it, but they knew about it when they traded for him. I feel like so they're like, oh, I know we're gonna get him now, rather than wait. So then we'll just have him and then do the surgery. So, but I really love and respect that Jaren was like, I want to play a little bit first
Hmm.
before. I really love that. Um, but let's talk about what this is really all about. What it's all about, what basketball is all about, and that is NBA All-Star Weekend, man. NBA All-Star Weekend here in Los Angeles. Everyone's talking about it. No one's talking about it. I'm kidding.
The into a dome.
I saw some billboard stuff and I sent a picture to you and like it just I mean, I don't go around that area where Intuit Dome is. It's pretty far south here in Los Angeles.
Hmm.
So it was no reason for me to go down there just to kind of see what it was like. And I did go to a comedy show last night and I did see like two or three people come to a show and they were wearing like the badges. I was like, oh, that's kind of sick. I was like,
Hmm.
I didn't recognize them, but I was like, that's sick. Yeah, so just a couple things before we get into like the events because there's some worth talking about and some not worth talking about. Shout out Damon for actually watching it. I was just sick in bed basically, so I couldn't. Brandon Ingram replaced Steph Curry for the USA team.
Pause. Okay, we're doing this positionless, so the position doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
but that is an Eastern Conference player replacing a Western Conference player.
Yeah.
Uh, okay, continue.
Also, I mean, we'll talk about, I guess, in a little bit, but basically, there's the two USA teams, Stars and Stripes, and they're separated by age. So Steph Curry's old. Brandon Ingram's pretty young. Did he
Brandon
go?
Ingram was on the old team.
Yeah, I'm like, what? Okay, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Alperen Şengün replaced Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for the World Team.
Positionless Western Conference for Western Conference.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we have De'Aaron Fox replaced Giannis Antetokounmpo.
All right, now you've lost me. That's a Western Conference guard for USA replacing an Eastern Conference forward for the World Team. Now I'm lost. Now I don't get it anymore.
So did De'Aaron Fox didn't play on the World Team, right?
He was on the USA team.
Okay, okay. Right, because I saw that he was yeah, you're texting me. He's on the older
Yeah.
US team. I was like, dude, he's young. What? See, this is the only gripe with this like world US thing is like you you have to replace him with someone that matches that and that way, but then that you're not going to get people that deserve to be all-stars. Like I would say like I'm happy for these guys to be all-stars, but they're replacing guys that they shouldn't be replaced. Like what
I'll
is
tell you
this?
what, Brandon Ingram, I did have as an alternate in the Eastern Conference, so I was okay with it. I mean, so my All-Star team, I was looking at it for reference. Everyone I have, Jaylen Brown, Maxey, Donovan Mitchell, Brunson, Cade, Jalen Johnson, Giannis, Scotty Barnes, Norman Powell, Cat, Siakam. They all played except Michael Porter Jr. was not an all-star. That's fine. I mean, that's not a huge deal. I
Mhm.
had Duran as an injury replacement too. He was an all-star. Then I had Franz, and then I had Brandon Ingram. So it like it's pretty close to what I had ultimately for the Eastern
Yeah,
Conference. I'm okay
nice.
with that. West, SGA, Jokic, Luka, Ant, Denny, Jamal. Kawhi was not originally an all-star. He had to be named by Adam Silver, and it wasn't even to replace anybody. It was to fill the USA amount, even though eventually De'Aaron Fox replaced Giannis. So I don't understand how that happened. Kevin Durant, Steph. I had Markkanen, fine, he didn't make it. The Jazz are horrible. Wemby, Booker. Okay. All of those people play. Here's my issue. De'Aaron Fox. I love De'Aaron Fox. I have a De'Aaron Fox jersey. And I have a problem with LeBron, but that's okay too. De'Aaron Fox is he didn't start the season. He was like injured to start the season. He's averaging like 20 points. This replacement is so disrespectful to James Harden. And Julius Randle. I think either of them would have been a better all-star replacement than De'Aaron. That one I really didn't get.
I think it's because the Spurs are hot right now, you know. Um,
Yeah.
which I also don't agree with. I definitely think Julius Randle deserves a shout out. He's still only that one-time All-Star, right, on the Knicks, and then he got his bag, and then just kind of was like fine. But now he's hooping this year. He's doing great.
Yeah, he may have been like two or three, but yeah. Yeah, he's not De'Aaron Fox is averaging 19 points on 48% shooting. 19 and 6. 19 and 6? Not
He's
all-star
fine.
numbers.
Yeah, he's fine. He's a good NBA player. I'm talking about that. He's a great NBA player, but he's not All-Star.
He
And
did have a
I
big moment in one of the games, so I'll talk about that.
yeah, and before we get to that, let's talk about the Rising Stars games real quick. So Friday with the Rising Stars games, there was
Mm-mm-mm. So there were uh,
what would you
there
say?
were
Either you're saying no to me. It's like it is what
no,
happened.
I was going, oh yeah.
Oh, okay. You're like, I was
So
like, okay.
there were three rookie and sophomore teams coached by Melo, Vince Carter, and Tracy McGrady, and then there was a
Hmm.
G League team coached by Austin Rivers,
I saw that.
which was funny.
Yes.
So it was round robin, just like the All-Star games were. I actually didn't watch these. You could talk about this. I didn't actually watch Friday. I was like, celebrity game, Rising Stars. I don't care. I just didn't watch it.
Yeah, I would have if I just don't have a way to watch stuff on Peacock. I was really hoping it was on Prime because that is really easy for me to find
Hmm.
and watch. But yeah, Team Mello beat Team Austin 40 to 34. When you say Reed, you mean Reed Shepherd, I'm assuming, right?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
sir.
And Donovan Clingan both had 9 for Team Mello, so shout out to players that we like. Team Vince beat Team T-Mac. VJ Edgecombe scored 17 for Team Vince. I heard VJ Edgecombe was hooping, and eventually
Hmm.
he did win the Rising Stars MVP when Team Vince beat Team Mello 25 to 24. So I'm happy for VJ Edgecombe. I'm glad the young guys were able to like go out there and hoop. This is actually something I don't mind watching because I feel like young guys want to prove themselves, so they kind of play with a bit more like tenacity than the All-Star game. I feel like.
Yeah, and
Um,
17's impressive because it's like a 12-minute quarter basically. So
yeah, so like really good for him, and I think he's having a great season, and I'm happy for him. So congrats to him for being the Rising Stars MVP. I need you to tell me all about the 3-point contest.
tell you all about all of Saturday's events because I watched them all. The 3-point contest was the only thing worth watching. It was pretty good. They had it was sponsored by State Farm this year. Because they used to do, remember they used to do like the starry shot, like the really far
Mm-hmm.
shot was like the starry. It was just like State Farm half court or something like that. It was really simple. So 3-point contest. It's like it has been in years past. 5 racks, money ball at the end of each rack. That each player gets to choose which rack is all money balls. And it was a really good lineup. I only put the 3 winners here, but or the 3 people to advance the second round: Con Knipple, Damian Lillard, Devin Booker. Scored 27, 27, and 30 respectively. But Donovan Mitchell had 24. He was barely eliminated. I believe Brunson was in it, I think.
Mm-hmm. Norman
Bobby,
Powell,
Bobby Portis was in it, which
Bobby Portis,
made
which you
no
texted me
sense at
about.
all. Because they're showing like all these guys. I'm like, man, these are all like 3-point shooters. And they're like, and there's Bobby Portis. I was like, what the hell is
Crazy
Bobby
eyes.
Portis doing
Hey,
here?
I'm here to hoop. I'm here to shoot
And
threes.
boy was he bad. He was not very
Oh my
good.
God.
um, I was just trying to find a list of participants. And that was for some reason really hard to find. Oh, here we go. Tyrese Maxey, Jamal Murray. I said uh Jalen Brunson. He actually wasn't in this. He was in the thing after this. That's what I was thinking of.
Oh right, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it was Khan, Damian Lillard, Devin Booker, Tyrese Maxey, Donovan Mitchell, Jamal Murray, Bobby Portis, Norman Powell. Um, and yeah, Khan actually had. Yeah, go ahead.
So before we go any further,
Okay,
Damian Lillard playing.
true. Yeah,
Can we talk about this for a second?
we should talk about this.
Torn ACL last year, or
Torn Achilles.
sorry, no, it was ACL. Didn't we talk about this?
There's Achilles. Yeah,
You
you're getting confused
swear.
again. I
Damn,
swear.
damn, damn, damn. Okay, Achilles.
Swear.
I keep all okay. So he tore his Achilles last year, right? That
In
is
the
a
playoffs.
at least a 12-month like recovery, like surgery recovery, everything. Brother went out there and like just like hooped. Anyways, I just can't wrap my head around that he was actually on the court playing. And again, not not no contact, not 5-on-5 basketball, but like shooting threes. Like that's your Achilles. Like you need. I'm like, it's crazy to me that he's already seemingly healthy enough to play this. But continue. I think that deserved its own like. This is crazy that he's
No,
actually
you're right.
playing.
I totally forgot. But yeah, I was watching and it was like they were introducing everybody. And I was like, Damian Lillard. Wait a second. Wait a
Yeah.
second.
Also, but okay, but for seeing him in a Blazers jersey again
Oh, it
did
felt
kind of make
good.
me.
Oh,
It
it
did a
felt
little like
good.
got a little misty eyed for sure. That
Yeah.
was very cool to see.
And then he's rocking pants. A couple people, him, Donovan Mitchell did this too. They're just wearing pants, like they're wearing their jersey and then just like warm up pants. Which is an interesting choice. So then Khan goes in the second round, doesn't have nearly as good of a first round. Dame goes and drops like 29 or 27 again or something like that. Has like a really strong second round. Um, and then Devin Booker goes and he's on fire. He like makes the first 9 of 10 and is going. He gets the last rack, um, and he's down one, I believe, and he misses the balls all money. The last rack's all money balls. Misses the last three, loses by 1 point. And then Damian Lillard comes out and does the Dame time and wins a 3-point contest that he gets to participate in despite not having played at all this season, and he won't play for the rest of the season. But he came
Yeah.
out here and grabbed a 3-point contest title anyways. And I think you mentioned the Achilles. It is. I was because I was streaming this and watching it with some of our friends
Hmm.
in Discord, and I was kind of going over like how something like a 3 point contest, because you only get a minute, it like your form is really important, like how far you jump and like how much leg you use compared to how much arm you use, because you kind of have to get into a rhythm. And he was definitely like not getting very high off the ground. It was a lot of
Mm,
like a tiny little jump, but probably a lot of arm, I imagine, in his shot today, and it looked good. It looked like Dame.
dude.
Yeah.
Love. That it was still insane to see that for sure. But shout out to him, just literally coming out of his house to win this and then go back and just hang out in Portland until next year. And then the Blazers be like top four in the West or something. Just watch.
Dude,
Um,
the trophies look cool too. I was like, oh, that's cool.
what does the trophy look like?
They're like it's like clear glass like
Mhm.
things, yeah.
Yeah,
Uh
that's cool.
um so he is now a three-time 3 point contest winner, joining two other players in NBA history, Dom. One of them you can get, one of them you have absolutely no shot.
So I know who what the one is for sure. I know it's
Okay.
Larry Bird. I
Larry
saw that.
Legend.
Yeah, I read I subscribed to the Enjoy Basketball newsletter, so I saw that
Ah,
in there. I read
yes.
that this morning. So shout out Larry Bird, which I didn't even know they had a 3 point like I know they had the All-Star game. Obviously they had All-Star game when like Michael Jordan and Larry Bird were playing like Magic, but like I didn't realize they also had these
Oh,
challenges
he has some
too.
legendary 3 point contest moments. Like he won a 3 point contest without taking off his warm-ups. Like he just wore his warm-ups.
That's cool.
Um, and then he like also there's a clip of him walking up to like the rest of the people in the 3 point contest. He's like, "So who's coming in second?"
That's pretty cool.
Some good moments.
Love to see that.
The other person's Craig Hodges. I don't think you're gonna get Craig Hodges.
I read it this morning. I would not have gotten it. I did not remember that name. Do you know who Craig Hodges is?
Nope. I mean, like I've heard the name, but I couldn't tell you anything about him.
Yeah, yeah, same.
But
Um,
it's a great event. 3 point contest continues to be a banger, which is not how I felt as a kid, but it's how I feel now.
I've always liked the 3 point contest because to me, I was talking to actually to my dad about this. Like the events to me that are good at the All-Star game, 3 point contest is awesome because it is objectively like, okay, this person's the best, this person's the best. Slam dunk contest is always cool, but so subjective. You're like, I actually liked his dunks better, but he didn't win. What's happening? I never loved that. And in 3 point contest, you shoot him, you miss. That's why I was thinking like, I feel like they should introduce something like knockout, like these fun games you do as a kid
Hmm.
like just to be able to play would like be fun or like around the world or something, you know,
The
like
commentators were talking about knockout because I think the NBC crew was Reggie Miller, Jamal Crawford, Noah Eagle. Noah Eagle was talking about knockout because he's not really a baller like that.
yeah.
But Jamal Crawford and Reggie Miller were talking about like a one-on-one tournament like they do in Undisputed uh, for women's basketball.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Something like
Like
that could be fun.
that would be fun. And that would be like you're literally face to face with this one person. Like as an all-star team like you lose whatever. It's like we did our best, but like one on one it's like a very personal, which makes you
Mhm.
care obviously because you don't want to lose. So, yeah, I think that stuff like that should be looked at for sure. But please tell me about these other banging contests that we had were able to watch.
Okay, so this year we dealt without the skills challenge. Another thing I remember about Chris Paul is last year the skills challenge, where he was just he didn't do half of it. He was just throwing the ball to do the fast time instead of actually trying to accomplish what the skills challenge set out to be. So they did away with that this year, as they probably should have, because the skills challenge was awful, and they replaced it with something called shooting stars. Let me try to explain this to you.
Please,
Um,
because I do not understand.
So there were teams of three, two current players and an NBA legend.
Hmm.
Um, Here are the teams, by the way. If we're gonna do this, this happened with the skills challenge. We gotta have better teams. So like something I remember from the skills challenge a couple years ago when the All-Star game was in Cleveland, they had a team Cleveland. That made sense because the All-Star game was in Cleveland.
Hmm.
This was in LA, and we had Team Knicks with Jalen Brunson and Cat and Allen Houston. Um, so sure. And by the way, their celebrity, every team had a celebrity person to pass them the ball. Their celebrity person was Rick Brunson, Jalen Brunson's dad, who's an assistant coach on the team who has played basketball. That doesn't really count as a celebrity, and I think that's probably too good of a passer compared to the other celebrity passers. So
Yeah.
I had a bone to pick with Team Nick for a lot of reasons. Okay, they had Team All Star, absolute worst name for a team. It was Scotty Barnes and Chet, who were All Stars. Rip Hamilton, who was an All Star, and
Yeah.
Drewski was their celebrity passer. Um, I'm tired of Drewski. He threw a pass like 10 feet over them into the audience.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, what am I watching right now? I didn't understand.
Yeah, that was tough. There was Team Cameron. This is a fun team. I like this team. So this is all people that went to Duke. So it
Okay.
was Jalen Johnson, Con Knipple, Corey Maggette was their legend, and then Anthony Anderson was their celebrity passer.
Okay, cool.
So that a normal like a B tier celebrity, but like a normal celebrity.
And also Anthony Anderson makes sense. He's a Clippers fan. I talked to him about it when I saw him at the Clippers game.
Oh,
So it
okay.
makes sense that he's a
Yeah,
Clippers
there we
fan.
go.
So it makes
There we
sense
go.
he's in LA. So also when you put JJ, I thought you meant JJ Redick, who also went to Duke. So it's like, oh, JJ
Mm.
Redick, cool. And you're like Jalen Johnson. It's like, oh, I did not see that coming at
Yeah,
all.
I just wrote initial so it didn't take up a lot of room.
Hmm.
Um, and then there was Team Harper, Dylan Harper, Ron Harper Jr., who's in the G League. Ron Harper, that was a legend. And then Two Chainz was their celebrity passer, of course, on Team Harper. So like Team
Yeah.
Harper, that works. Team Cameron, that kind of works. Team All Star does not work. Team Knicks when we're in LA does not work. If you're gonna have a basketball team, it needs to be Team Clipper, the team that's hosting it, right?
Yes, for sure.
Um,
Totally agree.
so two of the teams didn't really work. Two of the teams did. Team Knicks ended up winning. It was a terrible event. What happened is there's a celebrity passer basically in the left wing with like a big thing of basketballs. There are 7 spots. They started with like they started with the layup on the right side. Then it was like an elbow jumper from the right side. Then a three-pointer from the right side. Then they went all the way to the left corner to do a three. And then they went five was like top of key. Six, like a top of key, like free throw. Six was like top of key three. And then seven was like a half court shot. So basically, all three players had to attempt in order layup, going in this order, and the guy's just
Um,
passing them the ball as they're doing this. And then once everybody makes it to seven, the half court shot, however much time you have left, you just keep chugging up half court shots. And so, which it feels like it should be just one attempt and then you're done. But
yeah.
it's basically if they rush through the rest of it, they can get to the half court and what ended up happening was Team Nick, they hit like 4 half court shots and ended up winning because they're worth the most points, and they got there with like the most time left. So it was a stupid, and I
Yeah, it
don't
doesn't make
think they
any
should do
sense.
it again.
Also, were they doing it at the same time? So there's like two teams at the same time on either side of the
Nope,
court?
nope, just one team at a time.
S- Okay.
That would have been
Wait,
cooler if they did it together like that.
yeah, also, so it was like, so the first person goes, so it's going to be like Scotty Barnes goes, does his whole thing, gets to the half court.
No, no, all three go, all three do the layup, then all three do the next shot, then all three like they go together as a unit.
Got it. Fine. I mean, I don't hate it. It's the same, it's kind of like a game, kind of like the same as like, but you got to tighten up the rules, like the half court. You
Yeah.
can only do one attempt at each one. And you got to, yeah, just like, I don't know, figure out the teams a little bit better for sure. I totally agree with that. Makes no sense to me. But, I understand like trying to get a celebrity as part of it. Like that way people maybe want to watch it too. It's like, oh, watch like Two Chainz just throwing a basketball to Ron Harper as like a shoot it. It's
But
like,
you
that's
gotta have the same level of celebrity. You can't have Two Chainz and assistant coach Rick
Oh
Brunson.
no, no, no. Rick Brunson makes no sense. That made no sense.
That's kind
And
of
also it's
cheating.
New York. Like you could have Ben Stiller. You could have Spike Lee. You could have
Yeah.
like, but they're like we're gonna do the guy who is like, still around basketball and does it all the time and made his living that way.
They
Anyways.
asked Jalen Brunson like 3 times, like, "Oh, are you happy to be here with your dad?" And he was like, "No, I wish my dad wasn't here." And it was like kind of funny the first time, but he just said it every time they asked him.
Well,
They were
I
like,
mean, I'm
"Oh,
sure
you
he's
guys
sick of
won. Are you
it.
having fun now?" And he was like, "No."
Dude, hey, this guy.
This guy. Uh, all right, let's talk
All
about the
right.
dunk contest.
Hey man, yeah,
Fuck.
I saw this, man. This sucked. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the dunk
Dude.
contest is so tough. So, oh man,
Sorry, I
the
just getting
dunk
over the fact that I
contest.
can't see myself. Sorry, it's just hilarious to
We
me.
we had a good panel of judges, I think. It was like Julius Erving, fucking ancient, looks like he's about to fall over at any moment. Dominique Wilkins, legendary dunker. Dwight Howard,
Mhm.
dunk contest winner. They had Brent Barry, who was a dunk contest winner and also a Clipper. And then they had Corey Baghetti, who was it was so funny because
Clipper.
he's a Clipper, but when they showed his thing, it just said dunk contest participant in like 2008 or whatever year. I was like, oh, makes him look real underqualified compared to the rest of the people. So like, fine panel of judges, would love to get some like Vince Carter's doing the broadcast, so he can't really be a judge, I guess. Same thing with Tracy McGrady, but
Yeah,
love to get some of those guys. I know Michael Jordan's never gonna come do things like this. Those kind of legendary dunkers would be nice. Um, I'm glad Dominique does it every year.
yeah.
They've changed the scoring of the dunk contest. I don't know when this happened. What do you think the scoring of the dunk contest is?
What I believe it's every judge has cards that go from like 0 to 10, and then they just hold it up, and it goes up to 50. I believe
Okay.
that's my understanding.
That was my understanding of how the dunk contest works. That's not how it works. You're allowed to score, so they average the score instead of counting them up,
Yeah.
which makes sense. So everybody just gave like a score themselves. But they scored between 40 and 50. So 40 is the lowest you can give, and 50 is the highest you can give. So we're
Oh
going
my.
soft on these boys. Um,
Come on, man. If it sucks, just give them 0, man. It sucks, you know?
So yeah, 40 is the lowest you can get, 50 is the highest you can get. Everybody would give their score, and then it would average it out. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's how it worked. So four participants: Jackson Hayes, Lakers center. Centers are tough at the dunk contest. You got to be real good as a center to kind of shine the dunk contest. He was not. He didn't advance. Jason Richardson's son. That was kind of the guy I was rooting for because Jason Richardson was a really good dunker. Had a dunk contest victory that I remember when I was a kid. Um, Jace Richardson's like 6'1". He tried to do this dunk, like the spinning dunk. Didn't really even get that close, and then smacked his head on the back of his head in the court.
I missed
Uh,
that.
yeah, he didn't move on. That was tough, tough, tough. So it came down to Spurs rookie Carter Bryant, and this guy I literally never heard of on the Heat, Kashad Johnson. I was like, I don't know who that is. Like I read the participants, and I was like, I literally don't know who that is. Um, Carter Bryant has this great dunk that I think gets a 50. Probably wasn't like a 50, probably like a 49, but
Hmm.
it gets a 50. It's the best dunk of the day by far. It's like real clean, real smooth. And then Keshad Johnson does another dunk. It's okay. Gets like a 47 for it. Then Keshad Johnson comes out and does another dunk, and it was like pretty good. He gets like a 48. So Carter Bryant basically just needed to execute his second dunk in the final round, and it was like a surefire win. Just absolutely blew it. Just missed like two attempts. He was trying to go like under the legs off the backboard and then dunk it, and he
Yeah.
couldn't get the pass and the timing of the jump right. He wasted all his time on that. Ended up just doing like a really crappy dunk just to get a dunk in before time expired.
Yeah.
And he lost. And Kashad Johnson won, and that guy danced. Every dunk he just danced.
I was
Every
gonna say
single
that's
every single dunk he was grooving. Um,
that was the only thing I really saw. I was like, what is this dunk contest I'm watching right now? Is this a TikTok dance that's right now? You do a dunk and then you dance? I was like, what is happening right now?
All the dunks, were pretty mediocre. They're all unlike the 3-point contest where all those guys except for Bobby Portis like are are all stars or like all star shooter level players. These are just kind of guys, and I don't know how you get the all stars to participate in this. How do you get the Anthony Edwards and John Morant and Zion's in the dunk contest? I think that'll help a lot. Um, because a lot of the dunks, a lot of the things, there's only so much you can do that's new at this point in the dunk contest. I think that's why probably Mac McClung didn't come back. 'Cause he was like, I won three in a row. I don't know what else to do anymore. Like I've really come up
Yeah.
with a lot of dunks for this. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to get guys on it because it was ultimately pretty mediocre.
Yeah, I'm kind of over it. I've been over it the last couple of years. And I like Mac McClung's he jumped over a car. Very cool. Like seeing that kind of stuff. But again, like this is a guy who's like barely on a roster. He's in the G League. I'm like, what is the like they get their moment, sure, but then it's like like no one in the stadium knows who they are. It's like what is going on? I don't
Yeah.
know. I've never I haven't liked it for a while. I feel like there's other things that could be done, or maybe at least incorporate it into something else, maybe. I don't know how that works exactly,
Let people
but
use like a trampoline. Let them get crazy with
just
it.
straight up go like half or like timeouts, like the dancers and
Yeah,
the.
let them go stupid with it. That'd be awesome.
You know what it should be, honestly? Oh, it should kind of be like the teams, like dance teams, and just they compete against each other and who has the best routine of like the dunks and the mascot and like that whole thing. And maybe get a player included with that. Like that would be kind of cool. Because then you're bringing a player, unless it sounds not cool. I don't know. That sounds cool to me.
I think getting teams, dancers, and mascots there that aren't the host team would be a hard thing to do.
Well, I tried, man. All right, Adam Silver, your turn.
Your turn. Figure it out. That leads us to Sunday,
Tell me
the
about
All-Star
Sunday.
games. Uh,
Because before we get too detailed, I want you to just to kind of give me your overview, what you thought of it
yeah,
overall.
yeah. So this is probably the best All-Star game in the last 5+ years. It was pretty good. It was pretty good ultimately. Um, Lots of competition, some defense, some fouls, some people that seemed like they cared. And it was nice to see. It was different to see. The broadcast fucking beating me over the head with it. They were like, "Do you see how much competition's out here? You see how they're competing? See how they're out there competing? We love that they're out there competing." I was like, "Okay, I get it. I see that. I have eyeballs." They wouldn't shut the hell up about it. It was a little too much. And it was like, look how great the format is. The format is so great, it's making it all work. USA versus World. Oh my God, they love this. They love the international competition with the Olympics. Well, like they just wouldn't shut up. It bothered me. Um, but the games themselves were good. The issue, three of the games were good. The fourth game was not so good. The issue is that they're only 12 minutes. So, like, I think we got really lucky that three of the four 12-minute increments were really competitive and good. I think you can see what happened with the fourth game, which we'll get into in a little bit. If you kind of end one increment and start another, you're not guaranteeing that that same level of close competition is carrying over. Whereas instead of the round robin system, because I don't like the round robin system. I didn't like it last year. I didn't particularly like it this year. Um, what you worry about is carrying over like intensity from game to game because it's different guys against different guys. Whereas if we can somehow incorporate the idea, if they want to continue the USA World thing, whatever, I don't really care, um, into like a one long game, I think it will just be better because ultimately what happened is we had three short games that were all really fun and like for that breath of fresh air, and then we got to a fourth game which turned out to be a blowout and we just lost it. But if it was continuing up, building up like all as one continuous event, I think it would have
Hmm.
worked out a little better.
I see. Can you remind me the teams? So team stars, are they the younger ones or the older ones?
Yeah, so Team Stars. So USA had two teams. So they're broken down to Team Stars and Team Stripes. And I guess Team Stars was younger and Team Stripes was older. Up until this point, I'm still not sure if that was intentional or not. They talked about it on the broadcast. I just don't know if it was done on purpose. But
Hmm.
like Team Stars was like the oldest guys, like Anthony Edwards, basically. And it was like Cade and Duran and all Jalen Johnson, like all the guys that were on the All Star team that were younger. Whereas Team Stripes was like LeBron, Kevin Durant, and then you kind of go down from there to guys like De'Aaron Fox and Brandon Ingram were probably like 27. Those are probably like the youngest guys on that team. And then the world team was anyone that isn't from the USA, of course. They had a ton of injuries. So they had like Shea was out. Jokic was playing, but he only played the first game. He didn't play the second game. Luka didn't play the second game. He only played the first game. Giannis was out. Cat was representing Dominican Republic. Norman Powell's representing
Bahamas.
Bahamas. Yeah, so
Oh
they
no,
had like
Jamaica. Jamaica. Yeah,
Jamaica.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so they had like guys that I thought were for sure being the USA team, but they ended up being in the world team. That was weird. Um, the teams themselves were fine. Like I didn't really care how they were kind of spread out. It seemed to work out. Um, I'll give a lot of credit to Wemby. Wemby really set the tone like he did last year in the All-Star game. He was like the only guy really trying. Immediately in our first game, Team Stars versus Team World, he just came out and was like, "Yeah, I care." Like he was blocking shots, getting steals. Um, clearly caring and clearly wanting to win. And after that first game, which Team Stars ends up winning in OT. By the way, OT, they got to fix the OT rule if they're going to do OT in this. It
What was the
was
O2?
it. Here's the OT rule. They tied at the end of the 12 minutes. First to score 5 points wins. That's the OT rule. So they both hit a two, and then Scotty Barnes hit a three, and the game was over. And Wemby was so pissed because somebody like was closing in for help defense, giving Scotty Barnes an open three, and he was like, "We could give up a two because they would only have four. Like it doesn't matter." But he gave up the open three. But so Wemby set the tone, and Anthony Edwards credited him for doing that. Anthony Edwards came and kind of like, okay, they're competing, like let's compete. And that first game was really close. The young stars and Wemby kind of leading the world team because like Luka, Jokic, they're kind of whatever.
They're
But
so blasé about it. They're like,
yeah,
okay.
but Wemby was like, yeah, guys, like we're gonna do this. And then Anthony Edwards was like, okay, he's really competitive, so he was like, yeah,
Hmm.
we can do that. And I think that kind of set the tone because then Team Stripes came out after Team Stars beat World, so now it's Stripes versus Stars, Young USA versus Old USA in game number two. And I'm sure like Team Stripes has a little more blasé, don't care about it than Stars because they're just the old guys that are like LeBron and stuff. But they probably also didn't want to be upstaged by the young guys that just won their first game, so they got to come out and put a little effort in too. Um, Jalen Brown, Anthony Edwards, Cade were all kind of the leading scorers, they all 11 in those games. And Team Stripes barely won 42 to 40 on a LeBron kicking it inside to Donovan Mitchell, who then kicked it out to De'Aaron Fox. Barely played, got like 2 minutes. And he hit a buzzer beating three to win this game for Team Stripes. So now Stars has, they were 1-1. Uh, Stripes were 1-0. World was 0-1. Then it was Stripes versus World for that third game.
Hmm.
Basically, Team World had to win by three to advance because they lost the first game. If they win by three, they have a better point differential than Team Stars. They advance. Um, Otherwise, it was going to be Stripes versus Stars again.
Hmm.
It's another really, really close game. 48 to 45 went down to the wire. Kawhi had 31 points in 12
Insane.
minutes.
Dude.
12 minutes, he had 31 points. He played the entire 12-minute stretch. It's in LA, it's in the Clippers into a dome. A crowd's going crazy. He was just automatic from three, and he was playing Kawhi defense. Like he's getting steals and picking people's pockets, getting easy
Nice.
points in transition. It was like prime Kawhi out there, and Wemby again leading the world effort. No Luka, no Jokic in this game, like I mentioned. They end up barely losing out by three. So they go 0-2, and Wemby was just like super pissed because then it was USA versus USA, Stripes versus Stars
Yeah.
in the final game, and the Stripes just lost. They just lost all. They won those two games, and they lost it all. They're all old and tired. Stars came back fresh after a game off, just blew them out of the water, 47-21. It was very not close, not fast. And that's exactly what I'm talking about in terms of those 12-minute increments. I think we're pretty lucky to get three 12-minute games that were all really close and really competitive. And then the last game, the arguably the most important one, the championship, was just like a throwaway.
Yeah.
Um, and Anthony Edwards ends up taking home All-Star MVP because Team Stars did win. I think Kawhi would have gotten it if Stripes managed to win, obviously, with that huge game he had. But yeah, it was good. It was like the first three games were legitimately fun watches for the entirety of it. I think another issue I have with the round robin format is like Shingun and guys like that got out there for like 3 minutes and then they just didn't play like a lot in the other game. Like so it's like, oh, here's your all-star appearance, but you're here for like 4 minutes of game time. Oh, no vacation or anything for you. But it's not like for a worthwhile reason, you
Yeah, I
know?
feel like everyone should have like equal amount of minutes. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's tough, but how do you also argue that? You know, how do you? I mean, I'm sure there's people there that are like, I want to see Kevin Durant play 9 minutes and Shingun three. I don't want to see 6 and 6. Like I want to see KD out there more. You know what I mean? Like just like these. I want to see like LeBron play more than like Kate Cunningham. I don't know who this guy is. So like, I see arguments against that, but I think that would be more fair because yeah, it does suck to be like named to an all-star team and you're like, okay, so you're gonna play like not garbage time because these games were close for sure, but it's like we're gonna put you in there just so someone else can get a rest. It's like I'm an all-star. I'm worth more than that. Come on, you know.
Hmm.
I wish I could have seen it. It seemed pretty cool and competitive. I really respect Wemby for setting the tone. I was seeing a lot about that, so that was really cool to see. Bummer the last game was not as enticing, but
Right.
yeah, I mean, we'll see what they do. I think as you tweak it a little bit, there's something there. I just again don't really love the world aspect because again, it's like, how do you? What if there aren't enough world players who are good and
Right.
like
And
it's
I think
just.
that's why they do the round robin because there's just not enough for a whole team, like a
Mhm.
whole 12-person team. Um,
So I don't think it should be like I understand getting away from the East and West thing for sure. I miss it and I loved it. But it had its time and now they're trying to figure something else out. But I don't know.
I feel like East versus West with the people we had here could have ended up being something cool, but it seemed like mostly Western Conference guys that were shown out.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, everyone you mentioned basically, except for Cade and Jalen Brown. It's like
Yeah.
so maybe would not have been as like fun to watch. We don't know. But I'm happy that the people there got to have some OT and some good times. That's cool to see for sure.
Yeah. Um, Ultimately, I think an okay All-Star weekend. I think last year's was far worse than this. We talked a lot last year about like, man, this was tough.
Can you tell me a little bit about, so last year what was really tough is that it was like 3.5 hours long and it was like 2.5 hours of commercials, something crazy. If
hmm
you're, how was it like this? Were you like hella commercials and like
It's
just ads
interesting.
and
I mean, there are a fair amount of commercials. Like basically, the 12-minute games, there each team only had two timeouts. If there's a timeout called, commercials, and then in between 12-minute games, commercials.
yeah.
So not that bad. The broadcast I was watching was just like one of those broadcasts where it didn't actually have commercials. It was just like the game will
Mm,
be back
yeah.
momentarily, which is more my speed anyways.
Hmm.
I'm totally fine with that. The dunk contest probably had too many commercials, too much downtime in between the dunkers. The three-point contest was quick. It was like
Yeah.
very quick between all the shooters, which I think it was like all of the shooters except for a couple commercial, rest of the shooters commercial, second round done. Like it was like two commercial breaks, um, which was really nice. And then yeah, shooting stars was terrible.
Yeah.
Um, so I didn't feel I feel like it was things started at weird times of the day too, which they mentioned a couple times. Like I think both of these started in the afternoon and they were over by the time it was nighttime. Like the All-Star game started at 4 p.m. Central Time, so 3 or 2 p.m. your time. And it was
That's
over it
early.
was over by 7 p.m. my time. So it was over by 5 over there. And I guess that's so
Sun's
the
still
East
up.
Coast people could watch it too, but like it was just over at a random time. I was like, "Oh, okay." So it didn't feel very long, especially because it started early.
Yeah, I don't, that's a weird time. Like, just have it at, like when you normally have nationally broadcast stuff, like just do it like 7 or at least 6 Central Time.
hmm
It's not that crazy for the East Coast to watch it until like 9 or 10. Like they're used to it. I don't know. That's weird. I did not know that about that.
Yeah.
That's very strange. But yeah, I guess we'll see what they do next year. Everyone now is getting like a nice break for a little bit. I believe games resume on like Thursday or something.
hmm Yeah.
So it's nice to have this little break for everybody and see what's going into the rest of the season and some possible storylines to watch.
Oh, storyline.
Ooh, good segue. You talked a lot. Let me talk. Let me talk for a second, real quick.
Okay.
I have one thing I really, really that I was like, as soon as we were like, we're gonna talk about storylines to watch for the rest of the season.
Explain the segment.
Yes, so basically, Damon and I we both thought of three different storylines. It could be storylines based around players, teams, conferences, people, whatever, that we're just looking forward to the rest of the season, or maybe just watching, not necessarily like, oh, can the Thunder do a repeat? Like that's no, we're gonna do stuff a little bit deeper than that. Stuff that is gonna be, I none of the stuff I'm thinking to think about has consequences in the game, but the first thing definitely I mentioned, I think has repercussions that need to be addressed. So
Okay.
this is why it was the first thing I thought of. They need to talk about Clippers aspiration, Kawhi Leonard. What is happening? What is going on with that? Seriously, I'm like, okay, the Clippers basically are like, okay, we're gonna enter rebuild mode. And honestly, I get it. Love that for them. We have Kawhi Leonard. Maybe they'll move him in the offseason, whatever. you still can't ignore the fact that he probably was paid under the table. Like you got to investigate that. You need to prevent this corruption stuff. Like we got all this gambling stuff happening. Now you have this being paid under the table stuff. Like guys, you gotta. I'm not. It's not gonna make me stop watching the NBA, but it's going to make me second guess almost anything that looks weird that happens. You know what I mean? Like I want to be able to trust them. But if you
Mm,
don't address this now, like, okay, an all-star drops out, I'm naming Kawhi Leonard. Very suspicious. To me, I'm just like, he's a really good player, but it's like, it doesn't look great. There's stuff surrounding this organization right now, and you're like, I see, to me, I'm like, are the Clippers rebuilding because they want to get away from this? They're like, okay, you got us. We'll start rebuilding.
you
And I'm
got
like, you got us. We'll rebuild. I'm like, we'll move Kawhi Leonard. We're not gonna pay it. We're not gonna do this. Whatever, pay him anymore under the table. But I'm like, there needs to be some transparency. So that is something I'm going to be like.
So
I
hey guys, like don't forget. Remember that thing? Remember that was like a
yes,
storyline that that
yes, and that happens a
mattered.
lot in this day. I get that there's so much news that comes out every single day over everything, but we cannot let this be swept under the rug. Like it's just gonna keep happening if it's true. I'm not even saying it's true necessarily. I'm saying it's suspicious and needs to be looked into and needs to be disproven. And if
Mm,
it is, then love. But if not, then yo, some repercussions. That is
some
you cannot like. I know these guys are billionaires, but you got to find this the heck out of them. Just gotta
mhm.
just some, and then I don't even know. Like I don't know if you punish Kawhi. Like I don't. I'm not. This is not my forte. I just want to
Sure.
know. I need to know what happened, and the NBA fans deserve to know too. So that's my first storyline. I was like, we gotta.
Yeah, no, for sure. I will say from my storylines, I kind of, not intentionally, but I went away a little bit from like the Thunder, the Wolves, the Spurs, the Pistons. Like I kind of know that a lot of these teams are surefire, second round playoff kind of teams, and we'll talk about that when we get to the playoffs. This was more like stuff just for the season, just for the sake of the regular season, like kind of things I'm interested, not just for the rest of this regular season, but how it kind of goes into these teams. I ended up focusing mostly on teams
Mhm.
future. So um,
Got it.
I'll start in the West.
Okay.
It's a very basic question I wrote here, and I have some sub bullets, of course. What are the Mavs gonna do? What what is their plan is kind of my question here. So we have, a year ago, the Luka Doncic trade for Anthony Davis and Max Christie, and picks involved, whatever. The Mavs do not have a lot of picks. They don't have a lot of their own picks or other picks because a lot of that was done trying to build teams around Luka before they traded him. Trading for Porzingis and Kyrie and these kind of other players throughout his time there. Um, and I can look it up real quick. In fact, I will because I'm just curious what their draft assets are like.
Yeah.
Um,
Also Gafford trade and PJ Washington too, I'm sure. Just trying to
so
think of like, yeah.
they have their own pick this year, and then in 2028, the Thunder have the right to swap their pick with the Mavs pick. In 2029, Houston gets the most favorable of Dallas, Phoenix, Brooklyn. They get two of those. The Rockets get two of the most favorable one of those three picks. Um, all that being said, the Mavs have their own pick this year, and then they don't have completely their own rights on their own pick until 2031, it looks like. Because they have a swap with the Spurs in 2030. And they do have a Lakers pick in 2029, but that's not their own pick. So their draft assets are some swaps, their own pick this year, 2029 Lakers pick. Um, okay. Their current roster. I think everyone knows that because they lucked out this past lottery, you probably should be building around Cooper Flag. That's
Hmm.
the next logical step after getting rid of Anthony Davis, right? Cooper Flag is now our guy. Okay. Their team looks like around him, at least some important pieces. They have vets like Chris Middleton, like Klay Thompson, like Kyrie Irving, who are all pretty much on the tail end of their career here. Kyrie probably has, the most talent left out of those guys, but he still hasn't returned from injury. Clay is kind of washed shooter. Chris Middleton is kind of washed everything. I love Chris Middleton though. They have some good, solid role players. PJ Washington, you mentioned, Daniel Gafford, you mentioned, Najee Marshall, guys like that. They're not old, but are also not like young, spry players. And then they have some young guys that I don't really know the ceiling on them. Derek Lively, injured for the rest of the season, but young, talented center that I think could fit in the core of this team. AJ Johnson, they kind of just got back in that Anthony Davis trade. That's a young guy that could be something. Max Christie, I don't know if he's already capped out, but he's only 23. Maybe he can get a little better. And Ryan Nembhard they got in the second round this year, and he's worked out well for them. So they kind of have people representing all age groups, and then they have this obviously blue chip prospect. Hasn't had a terrific rookie season, but he's had a good rookie season. And I think anyone would say, yeah, we could build around that guy. So I'm just curious what moves they're going to make as we kind of obviously this season is kind of done, but as they
Yeah.
kind of go into the offseason, as they play down the stretch, are they going to start experimenting with more lineups based around like Cooper as the primary ball handler? Are they going to start giving young guys more minutes and lean off of Chris Middleton's and Klay Thompson's of the world? And I'm just fascinated what this team is going to look like in the next like 5 years because they are in such a different spot than they were a year ago or even a
Yeah.
couple months ago.
I'm glad you brought it up. I've been thinking about this a lot, just like looking at their roster and like Tyus Jones also like they got so I guess just someone to be able to handle the ball. I think his contract ends this year anyways. It's like a
Hmm.
rental. Yeah, I don't really know. I feel like what they got to do is they just depend on the young guys. Like stop playing Clay as much. His contract's going to be up this year or next year because I think he signed a 3-year, 50 million like 2 years ago. Sounds right. So, he'll be done soon, and then he'll get something smaller somewhere or stay there, or whatever. It's yeah, I feel like as a Mavericks, you got to depend on the young guys, right? You got to play Coop and AJ Johnson more and Ryan Nembhard and like just get them out there and like used to it. And, like you're gonna lose games, and but Derek Lively is really good too. He'll when he comes back next year. I don't think next year's a wash. Like you'll have Kyrie. I think they'll be like playing maybe top six. Like you never really know how these guys will develop, and I wish I could see how much everyone's earning. I mean, I know, I'm sure Chris Middleton and Kyrie are probably have the bigger contracts right now. I know PJ and like Gafford are like about 20 million. So like, it adds up. But I definitely don't think you should just go out and get like an all-star, like sign Kawhi Leonard or something. Like I don't think that's the move you should do. You should definitely just try to like keep the assets you have and just play the young guys. And then, what was it? Like the Wizards, I feel like they're just kind of gonna restart. But what the Jazz and the Wizards did is like trading away these older guys and getting picks back, like doing that model. But maybe like in the next year or two, because this year's
Hmm.
done, like you said. So something along those lines. Just try to get your worth back up. I think the biggest lot is for Mavericks fans. I do feel bad. That is probably the thing I feel the most for. But at least you got Cooper Flag. Imagine all this happening and you didn't get the first pick. So
Yeah, that would be tough.
yeah.
Hmm.
I wrote down a few things. I guess I will go. I'm gonna go this route. So you didn't
Okay.
mention like anyone that's like super like contending right now, or you said that's not where your head was at. The one thing I was really thinking about when looking at like the standings and everything is can the Pistons do it? Because
Hmm.
they're one seed, they're playing really well. They're gonna keep playing really well. They'll probably stay the first seed. They're a young team and inexperienced in the playoffs. They were really competitive last year, but were controversially knocked
Hmm.
out, to
Yeah.
say the least. So can they really pull it off? And I don't know the answer exactly to that. I think they have a really good chance to make it that far, but then you just meet the best person on the West, whether it's the Thunder or the Wolves. I want them to be able to, and I don't. I also don't want them to feel hopeless. Like I want there to be some kind of like hope, and I feel like some of the moves you did help. I mean, like you got like Kevin Herter, you got more shooting, cool. Hopefully that actually helps you guys out, and the thing is, I hope that they don't also look at this season as a failure if they don't make it. I think that's you gotta have that mindset of we're this far, which is awesome, but I hope we can lock in and realize what we got is good and come back next year. I just, especially with like the surge of the Celtics, Right now, I'm like over it. I'm just like,
Hmm.
can they really beat a team that's been there before, like in the playoffs? And like even the Knicks too, like last year didn't go their way. And are they just gonna able to hold on? And I would like to say yes. I mean, if the Thunder have taught us anything, it's that young teams can do it. They can do it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's one of the biggest questions I have. I like the West. I couldn't even really think about anything in the West. And like this is such a just
The West is, yeah, it's going to be a bloodbath. Um,
yeah.
Yeah, the Pistons are interesting because it's tough to root for a team that hasn't you haven't seen it, right? It's like it's tough to not root for, but to pick. It's tough to be like
Yeah.
this team is going all the way, even though they haven't advanced past the first round with the core that they currently have. So I understand exactly what you mean. Last year when we were predicting the finals at the beginning of the playoffs, you said Thunder and I said Celtics, and I was like, I just seen the Celtics do it. It's just
Yeah.
it's
And
the
you're
easiest. Yeah, and the Thunder end up doing it, right? So it is possible for sure.
yeah.
I would say this team is not as talented as the Thunder, but in terms of the other Eastern Conference matchups, I think it's possible. I don't have the Celtics on my list. I could definitely see talking about the Celtics and the fact that Jason Tatum could come back as like a thing that they kind of teased during the All-Star game. Even there's like a little Jason Tatum mini doc thing that was on. Yeah, I didn't pay attention to it, but it was there. I think he was kind of talking about, the potential to come back or whatever. But
Yeah.
um, I'm gonna stay away from that, and I'll
Yeah.
instead stick to the team on your shirt, the Chi-
Oh.
the Chicago Bulls. So kind of similar to the Mavericks. A lot of stuff happened at the trade deadline. A lot of my stuff ended up being kind of trade deadline related because we didn't talk. So we kind of talked about the trades, but we didn't talk a lot about how the teams are gonna look now and in the future. And we talked about this, but the Bulls guards, there are aplenty. So they got rid of Kobe White and I have just assumed new. Obviously, they kept Josh Giddey. So it seems like Josh Giddey is a guy they definitely want to kind of be the ball handler, the primary playmaker, guy that runs their offense, etc. Who are we keeping around Josh Giddey? They traded for Colin Sexton, Rob Dillingham, eighth overall pick just a couple years ago. Anthony Simons, we've seen him do it in Portland and a little bit in Boston. Jaden Ivey, number five pick a couple years ago, kind of set off in the Pistons. And then they also have a guy like Trey Jones on their roster who has been like a good backup guard. Like he's been really good for them this season. I'd kind of be surprised if his minutes just vanished. So not only do you have to decide which of these guys is now our starting shooting guard, but who's coming off the bench and who's not playing because you can't play all of these people. There's no way unless you're running like Giddy at the three, and then you're playing like Simons and another guard, like Simons and Jaden Ivey or something. That'd be kind of interesting, which I guess is possible because they don't have a ton of like huge players, like a ton of
Hmm.
centers on their roster anymore. So if they're just running like Buzelis at the five as kind of a small ball five, and then a bunch of guards, like they could do that. I'm interested to see like this is kind of what I'm for this segment is what they're gonna do, how they're gonna figure this out for the rest of the season. How are they gonna, what kind of lineups is Billy Donovan gonna put together to figure out the guards? Do they already know? Do they know like who they want to kind of build around, or is this like an experimental time to just throw guys out there and see? Obviously,
Yeah.
Colin Sexton's a little older. Simon's a little older. They're not old, but they've been in the league for 4 or 5 years. They've had chances. People have kind of can see the tape. They're guards that need the ball in their hand, that are score first guards. They don't play make as much. That's what you have Giddy for. Um, but with Dillingham and Ivy, we really don't know. We haven't got to see it. Dillingham barely played in Minnesota, and he's very slight, obviously, in his frame. Not great on defense. And then Ivy, after the big injury, hasn't had much of a chance in Detroit. So we saw it a little bit his rookie year, and then not so much after that. So we have two guys that you kind of know what you're getting out of it, and then two guys where you don't really know because we haven't seen it. So I'm just interested to see what the Bulls decide to do and kind of what direction they go. Who are guys they're going to rely on? Who are guys they're just going to let walk in free agency, etc.
Yeah, I think it's so interesting, getting all these guards and then getting all these guards traded and whatnot, or doing all the trades, getting all these guards, and then letting them walk in free agency is such an interesting concept because you're like, oh yeah, we're getting Colin Sexton back. I know we're not going to play him, and we're gonna let him walk, but we're still gonna do this trade. Why? You didn't have to. I don't understand like their thought process was in that regard. I definitely think that a couple of the players make sense to me. I think like Jaden Ivey makes sense. And when I heard Rob Dillingham, I thought it made sense. But now I don't know if it not so much. Like you said, like Trey Jones, I feel like you got to keep him. Josh Giddey, Jaden Ivey, because he like on the Bulls now, you should not be thinking about how are we gonna win. It's about who can be a part of our future, and then
Hmm.
maybe be a part of a team that's gonna win. And like, do I think Colin Sexton and Anthony Simons are that? No, I just don't. Like you said, like there's a little older. I think they can be really good like scorers for other teams. Bulls should really focus on like these younger guys. And I guess Rob Dillingham, you could try to get him to see what's going on, but yeah, it's interesting because the Wolves, they traded up to get or traded down to get him, and just didn't kind of work out for them. But
Well, no, the Wolves traded into the first round. They didn't have a first round pick.
that's what it was. Okay, so
Yeah.
you traded in for that to get him, and now it's like, okay, Bulls, you got him. Hopefully, you can make something out of this, but. We'll see. I don't hate the idea of like just literally trying anything. This is the time. Throw Bazales at the five. Like, why
Yeah.
not? And just kind of go for it from there. At least you got some picks.
Which
Second
reminds me,
round, yeah.
back to our All-Star conversation, the positions made like no sense. They started like Anthony Edwards was trying to do the jump ball with Wemby.
Oh, I saw that.
And which Duran I think started, so I didn't understand why Anthony Edwards was like, I must do it. But Duran was like basically the listener on that team.
That's yeah. I don't get it either. But I'm glad you brought up the Bulls. That was they're an interesting team right now. I
Yeah.
my
What's your
last
last one,
one.
my friend?
Yes, so I'm gonna go one I that we kind of mentioned a little bit about, but I do want to talk about.
Okay.
Um, I want to talk about um season-ending injuries like these Achilles tears, ACL tears, and how soon players are coming back from them. Because we saw Damian Lillard perform the three-point contest. Jason Tatum, rumors of him coming back. I don't
Hmm.
understand if just the medicine has gotten better
Hmm.
or you just like surgeries have gotten better or what. But I feel like we should be like given an explanation why. Like why are you putting the pressure on these guys to come back either too? Like I think it's unfair to try to put that expectation on them. I don't think Jason Tatum could come back if it's his health. Like that matters most. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like I think it's insane. I understand winning at all costs. I understand being competitive, and I get that. But these are not young, like they're not like 20. Okay, these are a little oh, like Jason Taylor like 28. I get that. Damian Lillard obviously much older than that, but their health should be considered before them being put into these situations. And I'm sure they might say they want to, but I feel like there almost got it's got to be a rule. Like I
Hmm.
just the last thing I want, oh my God, the last thing I want is Jason Tatum to go out there and then tear his Achilles again. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like I would just that would and then he might not be able to recover ever. And they put him out there too soon. So I'm gonna be paying attention to seeing like when these people come back from these injuries and how they look. And I'm like, do they look right? And I think this also goes back to like the finals, Mavericks Celtics. Luca played and he did not look well. Like he was playing through like a bad injury. And where is that line of my health matters, winning matters? What's this compromise that we can do? So I think that's important, and I'm going to be looking at that.
Dom is mind blown by the technology, the advancement of medicine. It's like,
Look,
yeah,
no, I hope it's that. I hope it's just like, oh, the surgery's less intrusive, so the tendon is healed easier. But like, I've broken my finger. It does not feel the same. It never will. And like, that's not even close to what an Achilles,
I
your
was there
Achilles
for
tendon
that.
feels like. I saw you. I showed it to you. So like I, not that well, my injury is nothing like a torn Achilles. I would not never try
You
to
said you
exploit.
said look at my broken finger.
Yeah, yeah.
Insane behavior.
Thank you, Kobe. Um, but I feel like I don't want them to be putting themselves out there just because the expectation is put on them. Like maybe they don't even want to be out there, you know? Like I'm just worried about the players, sue me.
Yeah, and I'm sure, there's steps to clear. Like they have to clear, five contact practice and blah blah blah. Like there's steps to ramp up, and I'm sure they're following those protocols. But you're right to say that it's not like when we were kids. When we were kids, somebody tears their ACL and week two of the regular season, they're not coming back till the next regular season. These guys are both of these players you mentioned, Dame and Jason Tatum and Halliburton doesn't seem like he's coming back, but. Um,
Yeah, like what's the difference?
those
Like they
were
had the
those
same
were
injury.
in the playoffs.
I know
Well, I
it's
think Halliburton was,
finals. It's game seven.
yeah, and it was ACL, right? And Tatum's was Achilles. I
I'm
think the
pr-
ACL is probably a longer recovery.
I'm pretty sure Halliburton's was the Achilles because you could see it.
Oh, you could see it. You're so right. You're so right.
Yeah, I'll never forget
Um,
that them showing it 800 times, and I'm
yeah,
like, we get it.
but it was further into the playoffs, and
Yeah,
obviously the Pacers have nothing to play for, so it's like not even in consideration. Whereas the Celtics are good.
but if the Pacers were good, would they be like, come on, Hallie, get better? I'm like,
Um,
come on, no, just let
Well,
them.
he got injured later, like at least a month later, right? So like that's part of it too. Yeah, but they do come back. Like there have been times I remember somebody gets injured in the playoffs, they miss the rest of the playoffs, and then they miss the entire next season, and then they come back the next season because that's just how long it took to recover. I mean, you remember Clay, he
Yeah,
tore his ACL and Achilles. He missed like two entire NBA seasons. And it was like, wow, that sucks. That's like really unfortunate. But
but
that
again,
that's just
it makes you think in that situation, was it because they tried to ramp him up to get ready, and then he ended up hurting himself
mm,
again? It's like that's what I'm
he
saying.
did get hurt in like a warm up. I remember
I
that. Like,
know exactly. I'm like I hate this. Like it's now or never. No, Jason Tatum will be 100% next year. Just let him heal, man. Like I don't know. I don't.
Jason Tatum lover trying to protect him.
No, it's low key because I just don't want the Celtics to win the championship. No, I'm kidding. No,
Don't let him.
I just
Don't let him
I
come back.
actually he shouldn't be allowed to play ever again. I'm gonna say it for his
And
health. It's for his
for us
health.
out.
No, I just I don't I really I as much as I don't like the Celtics, I hate seeing players that are really good not play. So
No,
yeah. So
no, it's fair.
yeah.
My last thing is kind of contendery. In a
Mm.
way, it's a team that I thought had no shot of contending based on their play this regular season, but lately that has not been the case, and that is the Cleveland Cavaliers. Um, my question says, what is the cap ceiling post Harden trade? Because since they traded for James Harden, they have not lost. They've not lost a game in February. It hasn't been that many games, but they did have a win over the Nuggets, who, granted, are going through some injuries too. And then the other wins are not super impressive. But Jalen Tyson seems to have kind of solidified that starting three spot that has been oh so elusive for them over the years. Max Strus has not returned this season, and he will at some point. Dean Wade, I guess, will probably, he's been in and out. He'll come back at some point. Mobley is out right now, and they're managing to perform well without him. So it seems like they've kind of figured out who their guys are. Harden and Donovan Mitchell already look better uh, as a pair than I thought they would. I was really worried about, both really high usage rates, kind of playing with each other, and so far it's looked pretty good. Like I said, better than I thought it would. Still trying to figure out what the role for guys like Keon Ellis, Dennis Schroeder are going to be on this team that has two high usage guards in the starting lineup. How much backup guard play can you really get? I imagine a fair amount because they'll probably have to stagger Harden, Donovan Mitchell a lot. They'll start together, but then one of them will come off kind of early and then come back in when the other one goes off, et cetera, et cetera. I feel like that's going to be how their team performs best, and then that's when you can get the key analysis and Dennis Schroeder's in. Um, and I think, yeah, at the start of the season, I had no faith in the Cavs. They're not on my championship pie because they were the one seed last year and they faltered in the playoffs, and then this year they came out looking rough to start. And now with this Garland for Harden trade, trading up 10 years in age, which is a scary ordeal. I feel like their team looks better though, and Harden and his playoff success is another storyline that you can kind of get into with this. He, of course, this has faltered in many game sixes and game sevens and close playoff series. So, what does that look like? I don't know, but I think the Pistons for me are like the clear, one seed obviously in the East right now. And then I would say like the Celtics, I'm still not in full belief in without Tatum. And then it's like the Knicks, and then it's probably the Cavs, right? Like I'm not believing the Sixers, whatever they're doing right now. The Raptors, I'm kind of out on that. So um, I feel like this Cavs team is climbing up back into my favoring rankings again, and I'm curious just how far can this team really go in this first year of Harden and Donovan Mitchell?
Yeah. I haven't watched a lot of Jalen Tyson. I know the name, but that's cool to see that they finally are finding someone in the three. I think another person that you didn't mention that I saw is just kind of in hooping form, Sam Merrill, another
Hmm.
guard, who's also been like shooting lights out and everything. So like, how do you figure
Summer
out that
League legend.
rotation? I'll never forget. Never forget. So yeah, I'm looking at the roster and I haven't looked at it like right in front of me since the like post James Harden trade, and it really is like I don't know what to think of it, but like they're winning games and means something, and like I gotta like watch more tape of them playing all together. But I definitely think like this season because this is James Harden's contract's expiring. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So they
There's a player option, I think.
that sounds right. As a 1-1 he signed with the Clippers. I'm pretty sure. This is kind of like your last hurrah, right? With this kind of core of like Donovan Mitchell, Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, and James Harden. I guess now that he's like in this, in this like as the Cavaliers kind of thing. It's like, what do you do next year? Where's the money coming from? You're paying all these guys. You're going to pay James Harden now, and he's a year older. Well, how's he going to be? I mean, he's been playing amazing, so maybe he just keeps doing that. Um, I don't know. It's still hard for me to believe, but I'm very curious to see how it plays out for sure.
Yes, sir. And those are the storylines you're
Yeah.
looking forward to. That's
And those
easy.
are the storylines that we care about. The one I had that I was like, maybe I'll bring it up. I wrote it down. I was like, I'm not going to. Was like, can the Bucks compete? Basically, even without
No.
Giannis. And I was like, what am I talking about? Well, I was like, also like, are they trying to? And then I was like, no, no, they're not. It's just like these questions in my head. And then, yeah, I was gonna ask more about like, dude, 3-point contest winner right here, Damon Gibson. 3-point contest winner. I was gonna also bring up just like is Giannis still gonna be a buck next year? But the storyline's so I'm done. I'm over it at this point,
I'm over Giannis, man. He was
Yeah, so
shout out to him for being at the All-Star festivities, even though he was injured.
he
With
was.
his,
That's cool.
he had his kids in his lap. He was like filming the dunk contest. He coached one of the celebrity teams.
Really? That's fun. That's cool. I respect
Yeah,
that.
it was Team Giannis versus Team Anthony Anderson, of course.
Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, this has been fun catching up on the All-Star game. I thank you for watching it again. I wasn't able to,
I was
but
glued.
next year I will glue. That way you don't have to watch the atrocities that whatever the Shooting Stars does or whatever. I'll
They
do all the
they
takes for
already
that.
got to they already got to nix that. I hope Adam Silver watching. I was like, fuck, that was
He's
bad.
like,
That's
what the fuck were
terrible.
we thinking? Why are the Knicks in this? They just like ask like I send a memo to like the whole like organization like, hey, we're doing this. Anyone want to do it? 29 teams were like, fuck no, what the hell? Knicks were like, yeah, sure, sounds
Next,
fun.
we already have
Only
two
if
All
Rick
Stars there,
Only
so
if Rick Brunson can be our celebrity. Like
um,
it'll be a good like a media thing for Rick and Jalen to do together. Jalen like, I hate this. I don't want to be here
this
right now.
fucking sucks.
But yeah, hopefully everyone's stoked for like the second half of the season. I am pretty sure I'm gonna go to Timberwolves Clippers next week.
Oh, please,
I
please.
want to see some Ant-Man. I don't think I've seen Anthony Edwards play yet in person.
Mm,
So that's like worth it for sure. And
I
I'm sure
hope
Clippers tickets are
Garland
cheaper now.
shoots a.
I would love to see a good competitive game, but I want to see some IO on the Timberwolves would be kind of cool too, and Julius
Mhm.
Randle. So I am stoked to maybe go to that game. Are you thinking about going to any Spurs Rockets games or anything like that?
I think Jared and I were looking at Spurs Pistons in like March. I
Hmm,
think I gotta remember when that is.
that'd be cool.
Um, it sucks going to a Spurs game. I hate seeing them succeed. It's tough, 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 tough.
But at least they're gonna play like not the Rockets. So like you're like I'm rooting for the Pistons, but it's not gonna pull like tear my heart out if they lose.
Yeah,
No. You can watch
yeah.
Jared's heart be torn out as they lose, but they won't. They'll win. Anyways, thank you again for listening. Share this with everybody. Tell them how much you love us because we love you. And we'll see you next time here on Two Man Game with Damon and Dom.
Buckets.